So what's the kind of like a valuable lesson like you've learned through all this, especially being kind of more risk adverse?
That is a good question. One of the biggest things that I've had to learn over the years, is that, when it comes to your own insecurities, 99% of the time, like the things that you get anxious about and the things that you stress out about, 99% of the time, it's concocted in your head and it's not going to happen. There's a phrase out there, I forget exactly who said it, but it's my entire life I worried about things that never happened. Or like, 99% of my worries never actually materialized. I forget exactly how it's phrased, but it's something along those lines. And that has been very truthful. In my own experience, I am, like, I guess you could say, like, a little bit high strung. And I get anxious at times. Entrepreneurship is not for the faint at heart. You have a good week and it feels like you're on top of the mountain and nothing would ever be better. And then you have a bad week and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm going to be eating ramen noodles and on food stamps pretty soon. Like, and that's just the way it is. And you really have to zoom out a lot of times. And really, I tell my fat loss clients and my muscle gaining clients the same thing. Like, look, you might not notice these big changes week to week, or maybe even month to month, but when you zoom out and look at like a big picture over like 3 months, 4 months, a year, something like that, you're going to realize just how far you've come. And I find myself having to do the same thing with myself. And there are big swings in the coaching world. It's very transient, especially with fitness. It's very transient. People will join, and some people will join and they will be your client for 4 years. But usually that's not the case. They join, and they get some results, they learn something, and then after some sort of a time frame, they move on. So you're constantly having to find new people, new leads, get new people into your ecosystem a little bit, get them to know you, and in reality, one of the reasons people come to a fitness coach like a guy like me is because they want to get results, right? Obviously, they want to get healthier. But let's be real, okay? One of the biggest reasons people come to a guy like me, honestly, is because they like me. Like, it just is. I mean, how many fitness accounts are on the internet? Like 80 billion. Like,
Exactly.
so why are they going to pick me? They resonate with my story. Oh yeah. I went through something very similar. My first kid was born. I got really fat, and then I felt like I needed to get in good shape. But like, he's a guy from the Midwest, family man, used to be a teacher. Wow, like, they like that whole vibe. Obviously the branding. Hey, look, see, there you go. There's the branding. The
It's
whole
that's really nice
branding.
branding. It's really
Yeah,
nice. I
you
think
gotta love it. Yeah, I'm decked out. So,
nice.
but
Yes, you should be.
but no, it's the whole brand is like, look, like, I was not 16 years old lifting and squatting 400 pounds. I didn't have a six pack when I was 20. I didn't have one when I was 30. I was, overweight, normal old middle school teacher who liked to drink Budweiser and eat, Pizza Hut pizza. That's what I like to do. And I realized that, if I wanted to stay around for my kids and walk them down the aisle one day, and I had students when I was teaching who their dads died of heart attacks at 45. Like,
Whoa.
it happened. And when that happens and you see the devastation on the kid's face, you're like, yeah, I don't want my kid to go through that. Like, that's a wake up call. Like, when that happens. So yeah, it's why do people hire coaches? Because they hear me say stuff like that, and they're like, yeah, I like what that guy's saying, and they might not like the vibe of a 25-year-old who's had a six pack since he was 10 years old. What I mean? Like, it's a little bit different. Like, I understand the struggle. I've been there before. I've had the 48-inch waist, and I've been there.